I've been playing around with ChatGPT a little bit in the last few days, and I was wondering, could I add it to a Unity game and make NPCs that you can talk to? Writing thousands of lines of dialogue for all the characters in a video game is a lot of tedious work, and I just don't have time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So I'm gonna force ChatGPT to be my slave and be the NPC for me. I have no idea how I would set this up, so I asked ChatGPT, and it actually gave me a pretty good explanation. First, I had to go to OpenAI and create a secret API key that I've named John. And then I wrote a script using mostly ChatGPT's code to handle the NPC's personality and then creating the prompt and sending it as a web request. I also wrote a UI handler class to get the text input and to display ChatGPT's response. Once I set up some basic UI in the scene and gave a personality to our character, it was time to finally test the project. And to my surprise, alright, let's test this. Yes! Yes! I could enter a message into the program and actually get a response from ChatGPT. This is pretty boring though. We can only talk to one character. And what is this UI? So the first thing I added was memory for the AI, because currently each message is handled as its own individual scenario, and the NPCs are like,
This must be your wallet.
That makes sense to me.
Then take it.
It's not my wallet.
How I went around doing this was to make a variable that can store the conversation history and send that to ChatGPT along with the prompt. Then I made another function called getConversationSummary, which is called whenever the history reaches 5 or more messages. That way I can limit how much information is being sent to ChatGPT in each request and limit the game's memory. Now that our NPCs are intelligent, we can focus on making the game look a little better. So I added a bean and put a rigid body and a player movement script on it, and now we can look around and move in the wonderful world. Now what we need are actual NPCs. Alright, yeah, let me just look up how to... Oh, right, silly me. After writing a base interactable class, I could then make this NPC interaction class, which doesn't really do anything. But we could create another bean to serve as our NPC, and then we can assign that NPC interaction script. Now when we walk up to the NPC, the UI changes to show that we can interact with them. Then I created an NPC scriptable object to keep track of the history, summary, and personality instead of the AI chat. Then back in the NPC interaction class, we can modify the talk function to see if you press the letter E on your keyboard and have it open a dialog panel. Of course, I then updated the UI for the dialogue, and back in the UI handler class, we now have this open dialog panel and closed dialog panel to handle opening the UI. So now we have Butch all set up, and I even went and made a second NPC with a different personality. Would you look at that? We can now interact with multiple NPCs and have it come up with dialogue, and I didn't even have to write it. Wow, so that actually worked a lot better than I thought it would. Seems like AI might actually take over our jobs after all. Of course, I could make the NPCs not look like, well, beans. But the entire point of this project was that I'm lazy. So I think that's gonna do it for today. If somehow this video actually does well, I guess I could put the code up on GitHub. But of course, you would need to have your own OpenAI key. Hey guys, it's the end of the video. Hopefully this was a step up in quality compared to my previous videos. If you thought this was at least mediocre and had a little chuckle, or maybe even blew a little bit of air out your nose, then maybe consider subscribing and leaving a like. If you didn't like the video, that's okay. Leave a dislike and maybe even put a comment down below saying why you didn't like it. Or not. I'm not your teacher. I'm not assigning you homework. Anyways, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Now it's time to edit this thing.
Bruh.
You didn't have to cut me off like that.